5 stages to gentrification. The first stage talks about the transformation of the labor force. There is a decrease in the blue-collar workers and an increase in the white-collar workers, which are occupational classifications that distinguish workers from manual labor and professional jobs. Stage 2 refers to when a class emerges in the post-industrial era, which values ethnic architectural diversity, while the third stage is when middle-class people move into these ethnic, low-income communities. Stage 4 is when the neighborhood begins to transform into the likings of wealthier residents. Lastly, the neighborhood begins to appeal from traditional middle class and loses its original culture. The pros of gentrification are as follows. There's stabilization of declining areas, increased property values, encouragement and increased viability of further development, and increased social mix. The cons for gentrification are as follows. Displacement through rent and price increases, community resentment and conflict, increased cost and changes to local services, and loss of social diversity from socially disparate to rich ghettos. In terms of displacement, people of lower incomes cannot afford the new remodeled housing complexes. Therefore, they are pushed out of their neighborhoods, ultimately creating tensions among different social classes. This is due to increase in rent, community services, and food services.
The buildings, the lofts, the condos, the apartments are now changing with a new, younger population coming into the city and creating more of an urban environment. And so thus the market is reflecting the gentrification inside as well.
The Grand Central Market in downtown LA opened first in 1917 and has been in operation ever since. As its inception, it was conceived as a discount food space, a place where you could find fresh produce and feed an entire family for a handful of dollars. That is, before the neighborhood of Bunker Hill was destroyed to develop the skyscrapers which now stand in their place. Families used to ride the Angel's Flight tram down to the market and get their weekly goods. While having a diverse identity and clientele base, for many years the market has mostly been frequented by LA's working-class Hispanic population. Gentrification in Roman villas left merchants and middle class with nowhere to go. The UCLA team developed a neighborhood database for the Los Angeles County region to include a series of data on demographic, socioeconomic, and housing characteristics in both transit and non-transit neighborhoods. They analyzed this data to better understand where gentrification had happened, or is currently happening, as well as which neighborhoods are vulnerable to gentrification. Additionally, they also examined neighborhood upscaling, which can occur in both disadvantaged and advantaged neighborhoods in terms of income, human capital, and housing cost. While the UCLA and UC Berkeley teams worked in tandem, the outcomes and types of maps were not identical due to differences in project funding, project scope, and data availability in the two regions.